Happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me. And here at Soul Canyon Kitchen, I'm celebrating my birthday week by making my most favorite cake. It's a vegan German chocolate cake. Now, for those of you that are American, you know what I'm talking about. But my best friend Ellen, who's German, tells me that this isn't German at all. So if you don't know what it is, it's a decadent and sweet cake with the frosting made from like a caramely pecan coconut caramel frosting that goes between it on the top. It's so delicious. The frosting makes the whole cake. I only eat this once a year. I can't wait to make this and have a couple pieces and share it with my neighbors or friends. But this is not something that I have in my diet all the time. But if you're looking for a beautiful birthday cake, then this is it. It's not a low-fat recipe, but it's delicious. First thing you want to do is grease your pans. Get that ready. Next, you want to get your milk prepared because it acts like a buttermilk when you add the vinegar to the milk. So we're going to take the vinegar, add it to our soy milk. I use soy milk. I love soy milk because I really believe in the benefits of soy milk. But if you have allergies and you can't use it, I would recommend to use coconut milk or even oat milk. But some oat milks are more watery. So the good thing about the soy is that it's a little more decadent, and that's why I think. And when you put the vinegar in, you'll see it's already getting thicker and curdled. Can you see that? You'll see as we pour it in, but I can already tell it's thicker. Soy milk seems to work better than the other milks to make it a buttermilk-like substance. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we have our ground flaxseed. I have 1.5 tablespoons here, and I'm going to add the hot water to that. And then I'm going to get that stirred around. So that's going to be our egg replacement. So we're going to let that gel. And now to my stand mixer, but you don't need to do this with a stand mixer. You just need 2 bowls, dry ingredient bowl, wet ingredient bowl, but then you'll just need a spatula and a whisk, and that's it. Okay, so while the buttermilk is sitting and the flax egg is gelling, we're going to get our dry ingredients. So I have my flour, and I'm going to add this in. And then we're going to add our cocoa powder. And then we're going to do our baking soda, baking powder, salt. So our last dry ingredient is the sugar. Let's get this blended up. We just need to stir it around. If you were doing this in a bowl, you would just whisk it together. You guys seen me before forget to put the lid on and then you get the dust storm. Okay, time to add our wet ingredients. So I want to get a spoon and show you this milk. Can you see how much thicker it is? Now it's really like, almost like a runny yogurt. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to add our oil. I'm using avocado oil. I think the flavor of avocado oil with chocolate would be the best one. Now let's put in our vanilla. And I'm adding, if you have an allergy to nuts, you don't have to, but I'm adding almond extract. The last thing is our flax egg. And now you can see that it's already thickened up. So it's much more like the texture of an egg. Okay, now let's blend that up. You don't want to mix this too much. You just want to blend it together and keep it kind of light. Take a peek how that looks. That is good. Okay, so it's time to pour our batter into our pans, but I just want to show you how I prepare my pans. So I usually take a little vegan butter and I just spread it along all around the bottom, which has already been done there. And then I buy these baking parchment paper rounds. You can buy them already round. Doesn't matter if you don't have those. I just happen to have these for so long, so I'm using them. Okay, so time to pour our batter. How many of you, when you were a kid, got to lick the batters when your mom would make cake or cookies? You felt privileged. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I've got my oven preheated at 350 degrees and these are just about ready to go in. Before you do, it's good to like bang them on the counter a little just to get the air out and level them out. That popped the bubbles. But the other little tip that I have, you don't need to do this, but if you bake, this is a great tip because I used to bake cakes and they get raw in the middle and cooked on the outside. And I learned this tip from a baker where they put these straps on and then you just tighten the straps like this and you bake them. But these straps have been soaking in a bowl of water, so they're wet right now. But this helps cool the outside of the cake so that the temperature cooks evenly. Okay, now they're ready to go in the oven. Okay, so my cakes cooked about 40 minutes. I checked them at 20, but I have 8-inch pans and they make the batter a little thicker, but I like that because then the cake's a little taller. But I checked them at 20 and they were clearly not done. And then I checked them at 30 and then 40, and 40 was perfect. But be sure you check your cakes at 20 because they might be done. Depends on your oven and the cake pan. But they're done. They've been cooling for 30 minutes. And Luke is now the watchdog. Hey, buddy. So now I'm going to flip them over. That's what I want to do here. And I want to put them in the fridge because if you really want to make a beautiful cake, you have to wait till it's extremely cool before you frost it. That looks great. And see, these things just help you get a nice even bake from the middle to the outside. But if you don't have that and they're domed, your cakes, then you need to take a knife and level them off because when you frost them, you want to frost a flat cake, not a domed cake. But I didn't need to do that. The way these bake, they're perfect. So that's it. What do you think, Luke? Now we're gonna put them in the fridge. No? What do you think, buddy? You can't have chocolate cake. But you know what? Luke and I have the same birthday, don't we, buddy? His birthday's the same day as mine, so maybe he does want chocolate cake, right, buddy? Okay, now these are gonna go in the fridge for probably 30 minutes to an hour, we'll see. And then we'll get making the frosting. You're so cute. You're so cute. I love you. Okay, now it's time to make the delicious coconut pecan frosting. So we're gonna start by adding the cornstarch into our coconut milk because we wanna make sure that it doesn't get all lumpy. So we're gonna add this in now and whisk it around. And then we're gonna start putting everything in the pan. It's always better to do it like this while it's cold because if you put the cornstarch in too late, it gets really lumpy. I'm using the full fat coconut milk because we need the fat for the frosting to be able to set. Now let's turn our burner on and we'll go ahead and add our coconut milk with the cornstarch in it. Now we're gonna add the brown sugar. Okay, now in the butter and the coconut oil. Now we just want to get this to boil because we want to cook it until it gets a little thicker. Obviously with the cornstarch in there, you're gonna see it become more like a caramel thick, delicious frosting. And then we'll add our coconut and our pecans and then we have to chill it. I want to show you what a beautiful color that is. Can you see that? It's really like caramel. It's all nice and smooth now, but we just wait for it to thicken. It's just starting to bubble. So from this point, it should begin to thicken quite fast. Okay, and I'm gonna turn off the heat and we are going to pour this into a bowl. Now we are going to stir in our coconut and our pecans. Now, this has to go in the freezer or the fridge. I personally always put it in the freezer, but you gotta watch it because you don't want to get it frozen, then you just gotta wait. It'll turn a little bit light because as the coconut oil hardens, it gets lighter than this. Okay, so I'm gonna go put it in the freezer and then probably the fridge, and then we'll be back to frost the cake. Okay, so now for the fun part. It's time to frost my birthday cake. And the secret to making a really beautiful cake is time, because the cakes themselves need to be really cooled. I've had these in the fridge for a few hours while I made the frosting, and then the frosting need to go, I put it in the freezer. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna put a little birthday crown cake holder on my tray, and then we're gonna put the first layer here, and now we're going to scoop some frosting. Sometimes these things are so flexible, and this frosting kind of heavy, so I prefer to do it with a knife. I think the key, especially with this frosting, because when you're putting it on, it's chilled, is you want to really try to just make the edges nice to the edge, all the way to the edge. That's going to be important when we put our second layer on. Looks pretty good. So far, so good. Now, carefully, because you won't be able to have a big chance to move it, but since it's chilled, then you just look from the top and make sure it's really even, and then you can give it a little twist. And now we go around again. I made extra frosting because I used to make this cake for people in my homeopathic study group when it was their birthday, and I would frost the whole side around. I don't know if I'm going to do that today, but I made extra, so if I want to do it, I can. But I want to do 2 nice layers, and not so much the side, I think, today. My birthday is actually the 11th. By the time you guys are watching this, it's past. But when I'm making this, it's a little early. And now from here, see how I'm trying to get that smooth? So let's see how that looks. So now let's just put some nice whole pecans. You can stand them up, but chances are they won't stay like that. The thing about making a cake really is just time. It's not difficult, and if you follow the recipe of somebody that's made it successfully, then it's actually really easy. And if that person is honest with you and tells you the secrets to doing it, because there's a lot of mistakes that when we experiment with the recipe, there's a lot of things that go wrong, and then we have to make it again and adapt. So honestly, you guys, I'm telling you, the big thing here is just let those cakes sit in the fridge for a few hours, because then they're just so easy to handle. They're so easy to handle when they're cold. And the frosting, this frosting is easy. It also needs time. I put mine in the freezer for probably an hour and a half. How does that look? I'm so happy. It's so nice to have a beautiful birthday cake. Love it. And this is such a delicious cake. Okay, so that's it. Let me clean this up and then we'll do a taste test. Okay, I am ready. I am so ready for this taste test. So I'm gonna wet my knife just so it doesn't stick. And let's see, I'm gonna go right here. Look how beautiful that looks with the nice thick frosting layer in the middle. And it's cold, it's delicious, it's set. Nice present to myself. Okay, here we go. I have to get a bite of the frosting and the cake in the middle there. Wow, that's so fantastic. And when I used to eat this as a kid, I didn't really know it wasn't dairy-free because I never ate dairy or drank milk. But this cake is completely no eggs, no dairy, and it's so moist. Oh man, you combine kind of caramel and pecans and coconut, and you won my heart. That's like eating a caramel candy bar with a bite of chocolate cake. Okay, well now we have the sweet master here to taste the birthday cake. I have my own piece. You get to try yours.
Okay.
I already tried it.
Sure looks nice.
Look at that. How much do you think that would cost in the vegan bakery?
$100.
Yeah, probably. And it would be that whether it's a vegan bakery or not. Amazing how expensive cakes are. Is that the best?
That's great.
Isn't that incredible? I was gonna let you have a bite of this and then I was like, well, I'm finishing, but is that cake so moist? Don't be shy. Make the noise that you always make when I make something you love. Yes. Wow.
Seems like it's close to somebody's birthday.
Yeah. Cheers. And you guys don't forget to subscribe. And thank you to every single one of you guys that have subscribed. I really appreciate it.